Eric Paul Xander with 9 to 5 Sports. Gonna be getting into the Open Championship, a little bit of the course preview, the top picks, the core plays, and a little first look build for you guys. I will also be showing you guys a little bit of a new, I don't want to say new tool, but an addition onto the tool that we've been showing you guys the past few videos. It's gonna be the data tag, and that's gonna show you guys like how they rank out data wise. Are they a fade? Are they a quarter play, high exposure play? It's just another tool for you guys to use. If you look at last week, is when I first implemented this onto the website. Xander Schauffele was a core play. You look at the Barracuda Championship, Mark Hubbard and Taylor Pendrith were core plays. They both finished, top 20. So good stuff there. And just speaking on last week real quick, the Barbasol Championship was awesome. We had the Barracuda Championship this week. The Barbasol Championship was awesome. It was a fun tournament. It was a huge edge. And really, if it wasn't for probably some golfers not benefiting from a bunch of weather delays, it would have been a really massive tournament. Still a really kind of easy week to cash in at the Barbasol Championship, which is awesome. Those secondary events continue to be a huge edge, which I love to see. And then looking at the Scottish Open was a lot of fun as well. That week really came down to lineup process, and personally, I didn't have it down until like Wednesday evening, if you will. I knew I wanted to get on Xander Schauffele and Matt Fitzpatrick, but I kept ending up on what I kind of thought was a dead zone. And that was kind of the problem. And I ended up just saying F it and going with it. Like I really loved Jordan Smith. I wanted to get on him by the end of the week. You guys knew that I really liked Alexander Bajorn, especially given his price point. And he was 400 to 1. And I had him as an outright bet and Jordan Smith as an outright bet at 110 to 1. They were both like top 10, kind of in contention heading into Sunday. I mean, it was kind of fun. Love to see Xander win, but really had like a few outright bets on both the Barbasol Championship and the Open Championship heading into Sunday. That was a lot of fun. Glad to see Xander come through. But the pain, just real quick before we get into the Open Championship, the pain from last week was Eduardo Molinari's 4-putt. He had a 4-putt to miss the cut on the number. He missed from 8 and then 3 feet. If he doesn't do that, it's a massive week. I mean, I was in first place of a GPP on Friday night and on Saturday night after the rounds. And then Bajorn and Jordan Smith ended up kind of crumbling, so it only finished like top 30. But still a fun week there to have that sweat, finish second in a showdown as well. It was a fun week to have those sweats going, to hit an outright bet, and kind of have an easier week in cash. Hopefully that's going to be the week this week because, guys, we have kind of some soft pricing again. Some of the golfers that we were on last week are going to be good plays again this week, and that's what gets me excited for this tournament. We have It's really the same week in which it's all about lineup process. Like I was about 500 off of having my ideal lineup this week. And it was probably about the same last week, but that's going to be the theme this week is that there's about 6 plays that I love, just kind of giving their price point. And it's going to be about fitting them into your builds and kind of deciding which player to fade. Okay. So let's get into it, guys. We got the Open Championship. So one new tool that I added to 9 to 5 Sports was this data tag here. And this is the tool that I kind of keep updating. This is the cheat sheet. The rest of the data is going to get this as well because, well, this cheat sheet here is mobile friendly. You flip it over on your screen and you can scroll through it. It's pretty awesome there. Kind of a point of pride for me right now. Honestly, it's awesome. But the new thing that I added in there is going to be this data tag. And the data tag is going to tell you who's a core play. And like I said, last week, a core play, Xander Schauffele is a core play, ended up winning, which was awesome. Taylor Pendrith and also Mark Hubbard were core plays on the Barbasol. So, pretty accurate there. We have the fades, high exposures, low exposures, lower exposure, and mid exposures, which is how I grade them out naturally. That's how I handicap it on the 9 to 5 player pool. This is just another way of looking at it. Hey, what is the data telling us? Okay. So real quick, we'll start off with the fades. The fades will be fun to start off with. So just looking at no shot that Dustin Johnson is going to be a fade right now. Just hasn't been playing well. Course history wise, really not that good. 8th place finish last year. And for course history, I'm looking at tournament history at the Open Championship. I'm not looking at 2015. That's going to be a little bit too far out for me. I don't want to be looking at that. I struggle to look at 5 years, which is what we're doing here for the Open Championship, because the significance of the data falls off really after 4 years, but for sure after 5 years. So that's why I'm looking at the last 4 Open Championships, and unfortunately, that's going to be 2017. But, it kind of is what it is. Regardless, he hasn't really played well at the Open Championship. Makes sense that he's a fade. Still not a terrible play. Top 25 in the model, but, not that good. Terrell Hatton, kind of same thing. Finally had a good week last week, but that was really it. We keep going lower. Adam Scott, He's been okay. I personally don't mind him as a play. You could end up on him, especially as price point. And then kind of just the same stuff like Mark Leishman, Abraham Answer, Tiger Woods. You guys can play Tiger if you want to, but no real reason to play any of these guys here. And there's a decent amount of players that, technically speaking, we should be fading. And this is where you could just make your week easier by just not playing any of these golfers here. Okay. That's something you can do for yourself if you want to. Okay. I'm not saying you have to, but you could do that if you want to. So now we're just going to get into kind of the mid exposure plays. Okay. So which golfers are, quality plays, they just might not be checking all the boxes for you. So starting with Rory. Rory actually ranks out second best in the 9 to 5 model. Whereas again, knocked while he missed the cut at the Open Championship 2 years ago. Other than that, really just a spectacular play. We can see recent form is solid, 19th, 5th, 1st, 18th, good stuff there. 7 straight May cuts in a row. And that's why he's a high exposure play. Like, he's not a bad play. Just that one missed cut 2 starts ago at the Open Championship is kind of knocking him a little bit. That's kind of the worry with him. Scotty Scheffler would be a core play this week, except for he missed the cut last week, okay? That's why he's not a core play. That's why he's a high exposure play. A good example of that would have been JT last week, who, ranked out really well in the 9 to 5 mile. He just had a miscut 3 starts ago, and that's why he wasn't a core play. So it's kind of those slight edges, and that's part of why I really like the data take is that, it's going to tell us exactly what we need to know for the player and like kind of why they're ranking out that way. And that's where I like this. Same thing with John Rahm. John Rahm had a miscut at the Open Championship 3 years ago. Recent form is pretty good. Pretty strong specialist, pretty strong course history rank, stat rank, recent form rank. Pretty good stuff there. Shane Lowry, I do really like as a play as well. Pretty good across the board. 12th place at this event last year. He was the defending champ 2 years ago. Missed the cut the years prior to that, but still not too worried about that. But that's also why he's a high exposure play. Not 3 straight May cuts, and he also has a missed cut twice at the Open Championship. That's why he's a high exposure play. It's not like he's a bad play. He's a good play. These are good things. Tommy Fleetwood, same thing with him. He finished 4th, 46th, and then had a missed cut 3 starts ago. Still a really strong play. We can see course history wise 9, specialist wise 41st. That's okay. Stat rank, top 30. Recent form rank top 30. Overall top 25 pick in the 9 to 5 model. And I do think he should be a safe play. Like, I'm perfectly fine ending up on him. And then just going through Tony Finau as well. A lot of people are liking him this week, and this is exactly why, guys. His ownership is going to be pretty high. And that's the worry. But, spectacular Open Championship history. 4 straight May cuts in a row. He's been, 3 out of 4 May cuts in a row, with it being 13th, miscut, 2nd, and 4th. That's good enough. And that miscut is also why he's a high exposure play and not a core play. But we can see. Specialist-wise, not the best, but course history rank, 7th, and that's event history rank. Stat rank, 9th. Recent form rank, 9th. Like, pretty solid play. And then a golfer that I see as a core play this week is going to be Max Homa. So getting to Max Homa as a core play, personally, I just don't see how we don't end up on him, honestly. Like, he is just a strong play this week, guys. I'll show you guys his recent form. We'll start with that. So recent form 1, recent form 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll just show you guys that to start off with. I mean, it has been really good. So last week, 16th place finish at the Scottish Open, event that he hasn't played at before. And to me, that's huge that he both played last week and played well last week, because a lot of the same key stats are going to carry over this week for the Open Championship. And that's where I really like to see that Max Homa has played well. Okay, recent form. After that, 47th, 5th, 23rd, 13th, 1st, 41st. Really strong stuff there from Max Homa. We can go a little bit further if we want to as well. Look at course history. So this is going to be event history, but he finished 40th last year, which also I just love to see that he was able to make the cut at the major. Obviously, he wasn't the player that he is currently last year, but it's awesome to see that he did go out and play well. So that is all encouraging stuff there from Max Homa. We can see specialist-wise, top 15, stat rank, second best stat rank play this week. And I should tell you guys, like, the key stats I'm looking at this week are going to be the same key stats that I looked at pretty much last week. So strokes gained total last 10 weeks, we're going to be looking at par 5 scoring. We're going to be looking at as well. You do need to be able to score on those par 5s. Birdie to bogey ratio, we're going to be looking at as well, because, well, this course does play a little bit easier, or it's expected to play a little bit easier than, some of the other majors. You are still going to make some bogeys. You're going to make some mistakes. And that's a lot due to the fact that, while the greens are just massive, you're going to 3-putt a decent amount. So we are going to be looking at strokes gained putting. And then strokes gained tee to green, just looking at it as well. There are some other stuff that I'm looking at, but those are going to be the key stats that I'm looking at this week. Ranks out as the second best stat in the field. So really strong play there. Fifth best in recent form. And then the quote unquote core play this week is going to be Xander Schauffele. No shock there. Xander has just been a stud. Okay, Xander, we can see course history rank 10th. Recent form rank 8th. Stat rank could be a little bit better, 23rd. But he's a strong specialist. So course history rank-wise, he's finished 26th, 41st, 2nd, and 20th at the Open Championship. Obviously, what we love that there from him. Look at his recent form. His recent form is obviously spectacular. So it's fun. You know, Xander, we've hit as an outright bet 4 times over the past year. And really with Xander, the fun part about it is knowing that the Zurich Classic won, to have him as an outright bet with Patrick Cantlay and really just saying, you know, these two are going to win pretty much was awesome. But also the mental aspect of that. The thought was that that win would be huge for both him and Patrick Cantlay mentally, because Patrick Cantlay had kind of lost a couple of times in a playoff where, you know, you wouldn't expect him to. And that was kind of like a huge mental hurdle, I think, for him. Well, it was for Xander Schauffele as well. And then also, so was his previous win as well, where it just seemed like, you know, if you break through to get this win, and that's kind of why the Zurich Classic was huge to have that mental edge in your head that says, I can win this. That was huge. And then we saw him like just last week, like, yeah, sure, he kind of gave up the lead, but he never was playing poorly. Like, you never really didn't think he wasn't going to win heading into that final round. So that was a huge mental edge. And I think he's just going to be geared up to play well this week once again. Honestly, he's being cool, calm, and collective. Okay. I like that. I like the fact that he's already there. You know, he's not going to be partying too much or doing other stuff with his family. He should be good to go. So recent form wise, 1st, 18th, 13th, 5th, 1st. Absolutely spectacular there. If we go back a little bit further, sure, he had a missed cut there. You know, 8 starts to go 35th. You know, not great, I guess, but still great stuff there from Xander. For me, he's going to be hard to avoid. Stat rank wise, like I said, he could be a little bit better, but guys, he is just a spectacular play, really through and through, and that's why he's a core play. That's why he's marking out as a core play. Now, I do want to just touch on some other plays that I do think are just great plays given their price point. Patrick Cantlay, I do love as well. Patrick Cantlay, just, you know, he is going to be a stellar play. So miscut last year at the Open Championship, that's going to be the worry, I guess. Besides that, 41st, 12th, good stuff there. Stat rank wise could be a little bit better as well. Only top 20 in the field. That's fine, though. Recent form has been there. 4th, 13th, 14th, 3rd. And he keeps being under-owned, guys. Like I said, I love this price point for Patrick Cantlay. You could easily go Patrick Cantlay, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Xander Schauffele. So Matt Fitzpatrick going to be my other core play as well. So far, Xander Schauffele, Max Homa, Patrick Cantlay I see as a core play, and Matt Fitzpatrick as a core play. Those are my 4 core plays. Okay, guys? Matt Fitzpatrick, just a stud as well. So Matt Fitzpatrick, recent form wise, 6th, 1st, 10th, miscut, 5th, 2nd, miscut, 14th, 18th. You know, really strong recent form, 3rd best in the field. Stat rank wise, top 12 stat fit in the field. Overall ranks out 6th best in the 95 mile. Sure. Course history, I guess, could be a little bit better. 26th, 20th, miscut, 44th. Like, that's okay. That's not great, but we'll take that. You know, Matt Fitzpatrick, Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantlay. It's really just trying to figure out which one of those guys maybe you can't fit into your build. And that's my struggle right now. I want to fit all 3 of them into my build, and it's not that easy. I already mentioned I do like Shane Lowry this week. Fine play at his price points. Going lower, Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood should be able to make the cut. I think he's a fine play. 4-star make cuts at the Open Championship. I like him a lot as a play. Already touched on Max Homa. He's going to be a core play to me, guys. Just no real reason not to play him. And then going lower, there's some okay plays here. Like, you can end up on any of these guys, really, if you want to. But really, to me, it's going to be Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith, once again, just a spectacular play to me. 6th best specialist in the field, and that's with a little bit smaller of a sample size, so don't go crazy with that. Recent form has been there, though. Just been making a lot of cuts. He's missed 1 cut the past year, okay? 24th place finish last week, which was a little bit unfortunate. You know, top 10 heading into the final round. I'm sure he thought he potentially had a chance to win. Crumbled. But besides that, 8th, 10th, 24th, like, still playing great golf there. You know, not the best stat fit, but still. That's those smaller sample sizes. Like, I love Jordan Smith at this price point. And for me, it's going to be tough not to play him at that price point. And then going lower, Like Ryan Fox, I still don't mind this week. I expect Ryan Fox to be able to go on and make the cut. Obviously, he ranks out really well in the model because he's been in strong recent form on the DP Tour. Pretty good stat fit as well for this course. Once again, small sample size for the specialist here, but still a quality play there. You could easily end up on him. Harris English, I fully expect to make the cut. Decent play at his price point, 3 straight make cuts in a row. This is a course that really should set up well for his game. If he is indeed back and healthy, this is a great price point for him. Like, honestly, if he was healthy, he'd probably be 8K, you know? So that's potential spots to really get on someone that shouldn't be priced that low. And then we get really just down into the values. Like Justin Harding, I do like a decent amount. Justin Harding, though, really, what the heck was last week? He dominated in round 1 and then fell off. He's the only live golfer that I like a little bit this week. Open Championship, 19th, 41st. And he's a golfer that, you know, strong putter. You know, I do expect him to be able to make the cut. Don't love him. He's fine. But, like, I expect him to make the cut. Going lower. Let's see. So Thomas Dietrich I like as well. Thomas Dietrich has made 4 straight cuts in a row now. Finished 10th last week. He's not ranking out well in the model too much. Not the best stat fit, but also missed the cut at this event last year. Really, you're playing him to make the cut, and I think he is going to give us a make cut at that price point. I do like him a decent amount. Tristan Lawrence, a golfer that we were on last week, I like him a decent amount as well. Made the cut, finished 3rd, 36th, 16th. You know, he's a pretty good play. Alexander Bajornik, you know, he also was a quality play once again this week, 45th in the 9-to-5 model. You know, that's good enough. Recent form, 20th, 23rd, 7th, 23rd. You know, that's good enough for me for Bajornik. If you guys want to end up on him, you can. Fabrizio Sanati, I butchered that, but, you know, he's also a decent play, someone I do expect to make the cut. And that's really it for value. So just getting into what I'm looking at for, you know, potential lineup process here, guys. It's interesting, so I'm giving it a chance to load here. So we'll get up into the 9-to-5 lineup tool. Zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. So like I said, I really want to start off with, honestly, Xander, Fitzpatrick, Cantlay. And this is honestly where, if you play on FanDuel, you can probably make this work. And maybe that's the route you go. Maybe you just enter a lot in FanDuel, because FanDuel, you can typically fit in an extra stud, and that's kind of the fun part about it. Maybe that's the route you go. Maybe that's the route I go. Maybe I enter a decent amount into FanDuel. So Max Homa, clearly mispriced. Like, you could easily fit him in there. And look how sexy this is right now. Okay, like, that is damn good. Let's try to fit in Jordan Smith, and this is where we get into a problem. Like, Jordan Smith, still a spectacular play. And then after that, you know, just can't fit him in there. It's just not possible. Honestly, if I could play a 6K player in there and make this work, I would. I would just say, F it. I'm going to get my 5 out of 6 across the cut line and get out of here. I'm going to feel good about it. We're going to cash this week and get out of there. But, you know, you can't make that work. Maybe you just fade Jordan Smith. I think that's an extreme value for him. I really don't want to do that, but maybe you could. And maybe that leads you to possibly going with, like, Dietrich, you know, maybe. Also do like Wyndham Clark. I didn't mention that. Wyndham Clark, you know, strong putter, has been playing well this season. I do expect him to make the cut. So maybe go Wyndham Clark and Bajornik, and maybe that's your build. You know, this isn't terrible. Much better 6 for 6% on this build this week than last week. You know, that's not a terrible build. I do like that build a decent amount. So that's really going to be up for you guys to decide. And then just real quickly, since I kind of mentioned fades, let's just take a peek at ownership leverage, just real quick. Let's look at who's overowned currently. Grillo, I get it with Grillo. Dietrich, I get it once again. Let's go to like 10%. See who's overowned. Gary Woodland, okay, he played well last week. Justin Rose, people like Justin Rose. Keith Mitchell, I don't really see. Neiman, I get, you know, should make the cut, soft price point. Tony Finau, like I said, probably a little bit overowned this week. Mito, people just love Mito apparently. Fleetwood, Power's getting the I guess Scotland, Ireland narrative there for him. Hideki, probably a little bit overowned. Fun stuff there though. Okay, that's all I have. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like, subscribe. I do appreciate that. If you guys want to join 9-to-5 Nation, use the tools available from this video and much more, the lineup builder and whatnot. That's going to be available for you as well. But that's all I have for you guys. Let's have a good week this week. And as always, let's keep cashing.